Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of ADHD and Crochet, and today we're going to be sewing together a little cow doll. I think we're going to start from the legs and work our way up. We have a lot of parts here that we're going to be working on. We'll see how long this takes. Off to a great start of poking myself immediately. And now we're just going to hope that that little prick does not cause problems with white yarn. Now, I'm not fully awake in this one. I am filming once again before I start work. And maybe I'll liven up as we go. Or you'll just be treated to sleep-deprived chatter. Well, I did sleep good. I'm just not awake yet. I woke up maybe 20 minutes ago. And we're here. Sometimes the best content comes when you are very tired. Alright. So the legs are really easy because they are just a flat stitch. And there's not a whole lot to it. So we're already fastening off here, making our little knot, hiding our string. So while this does have a lot of parts to it, each part does not necessarily require a lot of stitches. But he is just so cute. Now, at the time of recording this, my birthday was the day before. Well, I have one of my little birthday presents on my desk here, a teapot and a teacup. I think they're from the show Bridgerton, but I don't watch that show. It's just a really cute teapot. And I'm drinking peppermint tea. So no caffeine, despite being sleepy. I did accidentally put too much honey in the teacup, but I probably put just enough in the teapot. So it'll balance out eventually. Alright, and that is our second leg. We're going to go ahead and make our little knot here. Maybe. This time, for sure. And then hide our string. Now I do want to make a preface of this. These dolls the pattern does not tell you to make a tail for them, but I felt like the cow doll was kind of incomplete without one. I put one on anyways, and taking the pin off may have been a mistake, but it's fine. I'll work with it. I don't feel like I'm putting Eeyore's tail back on, except this Eeyore is not very sad. He's just very cute. Alright, and with the tail attached, hide our string like we always do. The pattern also called for less spots on the cow, and I felt like he needed more, so I added more. I was also kind of low on my white yarn. I need to go buy more. So there we have our tail and our legs attached. We're going to do the arms now. Pardon me. There's not a good way to lay him. We're just going to go for this. Now he's part of an order that I got. Him and a teddy bear. The teddy bear that I did last week are all part of the same order. I'm very excited to see the person who gets these. I will be meeting them in a couple of weeks. I actually work with the person, but she's buying these off me. This will be the first non-family member to purchase something from me. I count my friends as found family, that I am physically delivering instead of shipping. So up until this point, I've only had family members buy things from me, or I did have a vending stall, but those were not custom made orders that I physically handed to the person. They were just things I already made that people were buying. So this is my first custom order that is not from a family member that I'm delivering, which I think is pretty cool. It's kind of getting in the way of the shot, but it's fine. We're doing the same thing that we did for the legs, it's just on the arms now. A few stitches across. I am attempting to avoid the collar, and the nose keeps wanting to poke me. Now the collar and the little bell under there, I am going to take off to sew the nose on, so we are going to go a little out of order, because I want to make sure the nose gets sewn on first. Unfortunately, the yarn I had for the cow was not as soft as I would have liked. It is a little stiffer than the teddy bear, but that's okay. Yeah, black yarn is just a little bit softer. Which I think is a little bit backwards of actual animal fur. I believe it's usually the darker colors that are a little tougher, whereas the lighter colors are a little softer, depending on the animal. I know it's that way with certain sheep. And we've already made our knot. We're hiding our string and snip snip. There. So to make our way up, I'm going to go ahead and take the collar off here and the little bell, and we'll come back to those after the nose. Now he just looks naked without his collar. It's okay. He won't be for very long. I'm gonna actually put these pins away real quick before I lose them and hurt myself later. I was too lazy to open the box earlier, so I'm opening it now. Okay, back to stitches. And the nose I'm probably able to give you a good view on for most of it. There's going to be a lot of squishing in this area because there's a lot going on. I have the safety eye right there, the beginning of a new pin, catching hair apparently. You have to rotate. That wasn't very pleasant, I'm sorry. Forget where my microphone is sometimes. We're apparently going to catch all the other parts. And of course, I will link, or not link, I will give credit to the artist of the pattern in the description below. I don't know how to do links really. I'm not sponsored by anybody. Be cool if I was. I get most of my yarn and stuff from Hobby Lobby. So it'd be cool if I was partnered with them or something. But I doubt that'll ever happen for a lot of reasons. Let's not take the horns and ears with us. Now we're at that little awkward bit that's the underneath of the chin, underneath the nose. And this is the reason why I took the collar off. So that I could get a good shot of the stitches. Actually see what I'm doing. There we go. Apparently the needle gave up. That's okay, we'll still make our knot. We'll rethread the needle so we can hide our string. It wants to cooperate. Oh. Push the stuffing back in. And snip, snip. Alright, now that we've got that nose taken care of, put his collar back on. And I'm going to start by just adding the red. And then we'll sew the bell on after that. We're going to pin that in place. We're going to get a different needle because this, as you can tell, is a different size thread. And my needle is too big still, but it is better. I can't find the normal tiny needle that I use. I am a little bit of a mess today. It's been a long week. Now this one might be a little hard to see if you're actually watching. If I'm just your background noise, that's great. I don't care. But it is just like 5 or 6 stitches to make a little seam. I'm going to put those pins away now. I'm just going to make a little stitch through the neck just to kind of hold the whole thing in place. I'm just going from back to front, front to back a couple times. And then we'll make our little knot. We're going to hide our string just straight through. And snip, snip. We don't need to snip the ear. Alright. Now, this one, a little trickier. Place it. We're going to start by hiding that little string there. And then we'll sew the bell on. Right here because it's harder to thread it. There we go. Don't worry about snipping that off later. Alright, so now we find our main string. And this one's probably going to be difficult for me to keep at a decent angle, but I'll do my best. Let's start by making an initial push through. I'm actually going to go into the bell here. I don't think I need that anymore. And out through the bell again. Pull it tight. And we're just going to do that a couple more times. Through the collar, through the bell, Turn the bell and through the collar. All right, there we go. So now we are going to make our little knot. And hide our string in the same manner that we hid the original string. Straight through here. And we're going to snip, snip. I'm going to snip, snip both. And just kind of use the back of our needle here to poke that in there. Alright, so now we have the ears and the horns. I'm going to take the horns off so that we can get to the ears nice and easy. We need the small needle anymore, but I'll keep it out. Had to have a tea break. Got thirsty. Alright. Since yesterday, from the time of me filming this, was my birthday, my coworkers are still sending me happy birthday messages because not everybody was working yesterday. I don't know if it hurts more or less when you poke yourself with a dull needle versus a sharp one. I'm less likely to actually hurt myself on the dull one, in that I won't turn white yarn red, but yeah. Alright. Making our knot, hiding our string. Snip, snip. And then we can just kind of reposition it so it's how we want it. Now we do the other horn. I'm feeling a little more awake. My voice isn't, but I'm feeling it. That's okay. I will say my teacup and teapot both look like they hold more liquid than they do, which is fine. It's just funny. It's a very open teacup, but it's very shallow. Optical illusions are funny that way. I have tiny teacups that don't look like they hold a whole lot of liquid, and then you're sitting there drinking on them for a little while. Alright, so we are done with this ear. We're making our knot here. We're going to hide our string. Alright, now all that's left are our little horns. And throwing pins everywhere. And I kind of want them like right on the hem of the ear. I'm just repositioning them to where I want them. I want a nice little space between them there. And I'm just going to sew around the little horns here, which is going to prove to be a little bit difficult because they are quite small. I think if I ever do a mini version of these cow dolls, like for keychains or something, they may not have horns. Or I may just crochet the horns on instead of sewing them on. Or glue might be involved. That's also an option. They're so little. Tiny things with tiny parts get harder and harder to sew. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and make our little knot here. And hide our string. And snip, snip. And then we're going to go ahead and do the last piece. Now I realize we are only halfway through the video. Do not fret. We're not getting gypped. I do have more things to sew. I've been very busy. And the next project I have is probably going to take a couple videos to finish anyways, because there's a lot of parts that are not very small in like stitch number. So we will do a portion of that to finish out this video. But that project is really cool and I'm really excited to do it, so it won't be a problem. This will not be the turtle situation, I promise. I learned my lesson on that. No more than 2 videos for a project. Although I really hope she comes out with a sea-themed book. There's a bunch of her sea patterns. The one who did make that turtle pattern, she's the same person, snip, snip, that I have the next pattern the next project for. Is where I got her patterns for it. But there is our little cow doll. Very cute. Sits up, sort of. There we go. Just didn't want to that time. And got a little tail. So the pattern only calls for this spot, this here, or not this here, and this spot. I added this little bit here and this little bit back here as well. So very cute, very fun. This one is available on my Instagram for ordering. And this is what he looks like. All right, we're gonna sit him over here. I no longer need these pins, but I do need this box of pins. The pins are different size. Now I'm only going to be doing parts right now. What I have here are 2 dragon wings, and I am going to be putting wire in them. So those pins that I'm putting away were ones that I was just using to see if it fit the dragon nicely. But there is some pipe cleaner up in here. This is meant to be folded over and sewn over some wire. You can see the pipe cleaner sticking out there. So that's what we are going to do today. We're going to sew that little flap closed on at least one of the wings, if not both of them. I do not think we will get to actually see the dragon today, but next week. This is just a teaser because the cow didn't take as long as I wanted him to. I'm going to just tuck this in a little bit there. And then now you'll notice I'm using a black thread to sew this up and close this. But there's black and red on this part. I used the black thread and the red thread at the same time, just doubled them up to make this mottled effect. I mostly did it because I just didn't have enough red in the size I wanted it to be. So I improvised with a complementing color, which happened to be black. So the whole thing has some interesting color choices. I think they turned out pretty good in the end. Right. So now we've got the tip made. We can go through and I'm just going to stitch along this line here. So this is technically the back of the wings, the sides that will be on the inside of the dragon once it's posed. Now these will be probably the last thing I actually put on the dragon, but I want to make sure I actually have them fully finished before then. This, of course, is a pattern done by Lapp. I don't remember who did the cow, but I will put that in the description. I love Lapp's patterns. I have her books. I just bought her newest one, which had snails and mushroom sprites. I'm very excited for that. This particular dragon will be available for purchase in the spring. He's going to be going to a convention, I believe. I found someone who's wanting to sell things like this, and I'm working with them. So they're going to be doing the physical selling portion of it, and I'm just going to be supplying them with the creations. So I'm very excited for that. I have another dragon that I did finish, but did not sew on screen. It does look different. It's actually smaller than this. I wasn't sure how long it would take to sew those together, so I just kind of sewed it as I went. And that one took about an hour to do, just sewing on, and it did not have as many parts as this. But this was very fun to do. I'm playing around with things in her pattern book. There was a griffin that I wanted to do, but the pattern she has for a griffin is for an owl griffin, and I wanted a standard one, so I'm kind of taking different sections of her patterns and using them and toying with it. The griffin is not turning out the way I want it to, but I still love it. In a it's funny kind of way. So you'll see that eventually as well. And I don't know if I will be able to actually talk during that video because I'm probably going to be laughing at my creation, depending on if I can save it or not. So you may in the future see a video that just says, "I'm sorry." Didn't do anything bad. I just can't stop laughing. But this one turned out really cool, really cute. I'm really excited to sew the rest of it together and not just the wings here. So there are a lot of stitches. It's not really a very interesting piece to sew together. It is pretty much just a straight line with a lot of stitches involved. But making the piece was very fun. You make this first big arch, and then you make where it would attach to the body, and then you go back through on the other side and make the ridges and the top piece. Now, this piece very much felt like a trust the process, especially when you get to this top part here. Because it is designed to be folded over, so when you are initially making it, it doesn't make a lot of sense if you didn't realize that you're supposed to fold it over a piece of wire. Now, when I do attach these to the dragon, I don't really have a good way of pushing the wire into the dragon body because the yarn I used is just too thin and the wire just likes to grab it because it's pipe cleaner. And even my normal wire, which is much flimsier, would also just grab it. So I will probably be doing a lot of stitching it in place to hold it where I want it to. We went through almost the entire wing without it doing that. All right. And close this nice and tight. And I'm not going to snip this off because we are going to use it to actually attach it to the dragon later. But now we have our wire in place. Technically, the wing could fold like this if you really wanted it to. But I will want it out. And that is what that looks like. We'll go ahead and do the next one. And that is a few more pins back in my box. For the next project because I can't just stop at one. Now, I technically did one of these wings wrong because it does have directions on doing a right wing and a left wing, and I just kind of did the same process as the first one I did for the second one, just on the other side. So technically did it wrong, still turned out fine. I think this is technically the wrong one, the one I did wrong. Actually, please don't. I don't have money for that. I spend my money on yarn. My family sent me money for my birthday, and I spent it on some pants at Hot Topic, which I'm currently wearing. They are Stardew Valley pants. And the book of patterns and a little bit of yarn. Now I am doing some corrective stitching here because when doing this, the wing tip got a little bit pulled away from the, I guess, technically fleshy bit of the wing, but it's fine. No big deal. And now we can do our normal stitching here. And I do want more tea, so I'm going to pour myself some more tea. Because I included my teapot. Oh yeah, that's much better than the first cup. It is not overly sweetened. There is such thing as too sweet. I did not feel like actually drinking candy this morning, but that's what I ended up doing. My hair is bothering me. Removing it. And apparently my microphone had meandered its way up further than I expected. I've probably been louder, so I'll have to fix that in editing. But it's fine. I just hope it wasn't muffled. These wings would also be great on like a gargoyle doll. That's part of what I love about Megan Lapp's pattern books is she took each part kind of its own pattern. It has a lot of sewing, but it leaves a lot open for creative uses. So I could put these wings on one of the unicorns and make like a dark unicorn with bat wings. Or I could put them on a different doll entirely and make something different. Like I could put these on the cow and make an evil cow. Or just a flying cow. Tell me that's not cute and funny. Put cow spots on the wing. I may have to do that. That might be coming soon. Maybe that's what I'll do for spooky season. I'll just put these kinds of wings on things that they don't belong. Just comment down below what you want to see wings on in the future, and I'll make it happen. What shouldn't have wings that you want me to put these style wings on. This might be the first one I did. I don't know. It just feels like my stitching is sloppier on this one, like actually making the thing, but it might have been the second one too, because I, again, technically did that one wrong. I don't remember, because I finished making the parts like a week ago. and I can barely remember what I did yesterday. That's not true. Yesterday I went to the mall and bought things. Okay, attaching my microphone to an oversized hoodie was apparently a bad decision, but my shirt that I am wearing doesn't really have a good anchor point. We're dealing with it. It's okay. We're almost done. It takes me a little over 30 minutes to sew a cow together and a little under 30 minutes to sew wire into wings. Good to know. Together, we have a whole video. And there we go. We're getting towards the end here. Just a couple more stitches. And we're just going to stitch that together in a couple spots. Just make sure that doesn't come apart. And what will probably happen is I will stitch around where it's going to attach to the body and then go from there. But we have our wings put together. We have our cow, who I still think would look really cute with these wings. Alright, well, if you liked the video, please like the video. If you want to see more of my content, go ahead and subscribe. And otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.